If you think you are a Superman in sales, then you have definitely heard about spin selling, the most popular sales system in the world. In this video, you will learn how to improve spin selling with specific examples from my experience. You will also find part 2 on the channel, where I talk about the structure of the conversation and the sequence of asking questions. Why is the spin selling method so popular? First of all, because it is simple and can be implemented immediately after. Before you read the book. In comparison, other sales books are not as methodological and their step-by-step approach is not as clear, making them harder to implement. The second reason is the impressive statistics the author uses, but they were collected a long time ago, and the world has changed since then. I should also warn you that the book on spin selling does not contain all the important details, as it is just a book. Therefore, after reading, you will only be able to implement the technology partially. Also, if you are reading a translation instead of the original, some details may be simplified, and you know that the devil is in the details, right? For example, what distinguishes an Audi from a Volkswagen are the details, yet it costs twice as much. It is the perfection in these details that creates a different class of car. You will learn about such details in sales in this. In the video, Neil Rackham says, and you may have heard this, that there are 4 types of questions: situational, problem, extracting, and direction, not just open and closed. I have detailed these questions in another video, but now I will discuss 3 growth points for your spin selling. The first is that the client may not trust you, and then they won't tell you their deep problem. And we are afraid to delve into their soul so as not to scare them, or not to scare yourself. So if you don't know the biggest pain of the client, work on their trust. This is especially important for food sales, and if you don't have the easiest product. The second growth point is to learn to ask the most complex types of questions, guiding and extracting, because their basis is a comprehensive view of the situation. Such a view, of course, is held by the manager or owner, and the manager might not have it. So later in this video, I will explain what to do about it. The third growth point in your spin selling is that sometimes you ask the client too many questions and they don't understand why they need to answer them. Help the client by including the reason why it's worth answering the question. Otherwise, there might be no answer. The question won't work and the client won't buy. I will explain this growth point in more detail. The question formula sounds like this. In order to A, tell me B. For example, in order for you to get the value, please tell me what is important to you. Before starting the project and without a reason, this question sounds like this. What is important to you? And all of this seems so simple, but because of these small details, conversion and sales decrease. It is so simple, but because of these small details, conversion and sales decrease. So if you ask, for example, out of 10 questions in a client conversation, add a personalized reason to at least 5 to 7 of them, for example. Some of our clients choose this equipment for reasons of economy. And if you are choosing, is it important for you to save money or just to stay within the budget to keep the production process running? Ask the client for the reason, as this is what others are already buying and choosing for certain reasons. And we ask the client their reason very simply, without a reason. This question sounds like, is it important for you to save money? Let's save and add other context to the question. Reaching the level of understanding reasons is a significant improvement in the work of every manager, leader, and the sales system as a whole, and it also applies to personal communication with a manager. If you ask questions to your opponent, manager, leader, or partner, you can add reasons and context to the questions to better manage the conversation. This is not just manipulation, but a way to help your interlocutor or client understand better. How exactly should you answer questions? So, if the question is very open, for example, what is important to you, then you can answer however you like. Or the client might ask during the meeting, what do you mean? Or say something abstract. But what if you ask like this? In order to provide you with a truly useful offer, please tell me, is quality, payback period, or something else important to you? And it becomes easier for the client to respond. Another area for improvement is not just the techniques of spin selling or NLP, but the ability to look at the market situation as a whole. Sometimes, yes, here is the product composition, the price list, the description of each product, but the connection between certain features of the product and specific client outcomes is not described. For example, there is a course that trains people for professions with a job placement guarantee within 6 months, and it is important for the client to understand where this guarantee comes from and how it works. Junior specialists usually have to complete a test assignment before getting a job, and many cannot pass this stage. An online school salesperson, for instance, knows that there will be a workshop during the 2-month training where a mentor will help the student work on the test assignment. But they don't know what specific examples of tasks there are. Then the client who watched the webinar, when talking to the manager, simply won't believe that they can pass the test task. As a result, finding a job and the guarantee of employment simply won't work. Important details matter. And statements like, "It will be fine," "We will work on everything" won't work. Because imagine questions using the method. I say, "What do you think if there is a workshop where we will work on this? Will it help you find a job?" Such a direct question can stump the client because it is unclear what we will be doing at the workshop. This is except for those clients who trust so much that they are ready to buy without these details. But there are too few such clients. For example, only 10 to 20% of all warm leads. Therefore, if you want a 50% conversion rate, that is to sell 2 to 3 times more in the same period of time, become a student of the course yourself. Try using the product and feel how the test tasks and everything else work. If you are a manager or owner, make sure your manager can use the product and see how it works, because the manager's confidence is sometimes more important than sales techniques. That is, if you look narrowly only from the perspective of the price of techniques, but if you do not take into account the specifics of competitors' technical product operation and how the service is provided, it will be difficult to use both the spin selling method and other techniques. As a result, questions sound inappropriate. All conversation structures break down, which angers the customer. And the manager finds it difficult to explain to the supervisor why it is not working. The supervisor, in turn, may not understand what the problem is and looks for competent managers. And Michael Roach said, all failures come from misunderstandings. So delve into the details. Implement the sales technology to increase conversion and profit. It's not just about creating a cool script and training managers, but also knowing the market, the details, in other words, what others don't know. It's about having a comprehensive vision like an Olympian, even if it's difficult to combine all these unknown parameters. I will help you put it all together in a live meeting format. Of course, my experience spans more than 100 cases over the last 19 years. It's enough not to study your product. In 2 weeks at the meeting, I sold you your product using improved technology. You will play the role of the client and notice that it is difficult for you to refuse. Then I will explain the price structure and conduct a demo training where you will see not only why it works great, but also why you can learn it right now. Well, not bad. I would buy it myself. Contact details are in the description under the video. You haven't left an application yet.